Hey, what is going on, everybody? You already know it's Tuesday night. It's 10 p.m. Fight Club 215 is in the house with myself, Paul Spencer, and of course, my main man, the co founder of Out of the Box Sports with me, Mr. Joey Wood. Joey, what's going on, brother?
Not much. Just finally got to get a show in there, between the Phillies and some
Yeah.
family sickness and stuff.
Mm. It never ends in the Wood house, does it?
With two small kids, it does not.
It feels like you're fighting a UFC battle yourself every week, Joey.
For sure, for sure. Now I got a 2-year-old with a leg cast, so
But Joey, like I told you, man, stop practicing MMA on her. I
yeah,
mean, that age you're not supposed to be suplexing your daughter at that age, Joey.
yeah.
But I'm just saying, man, that's between
Let's
you and
not
I.
let's
But
not say that on let's not say that on air though, Paul. I don't need
yeah, you're right. I don't want
child
you to
protective
ask her.
services to come check out. Look at me.
You're right, Joey. Exactly. You were teaching her how to tie her shoe, and she slipped. We already know what happened, Joey. Okay, we already know. But hey, listen. Last week we went on, Joey. Of course, we won't get into last week's episode. We wanted to watch the Phillies, of course. I know you're a diehard Phillies fan. I'm not. I had to rock Phillies gear because I lost the bet. But this is not Phillies gear. This is a Fight to Club 215 jacket. So if anybody out there, listen, our merchandise store will be coming soon. So if you like a show out there, you want to sponsor your host, you want to give a shout out to them, enjoy what they do. We'll have shirts for pretty much every event coming up pretty soon. But this is the Fight Club 215 shirt here. The hoodie comes with a hoodie, pockets, and your big logo on the back. So stay tuned to Out of the Box Sports Network on Facebook for the merchandise store coming soon. But hey, Joey, listen, man. I know you're in a bad mood. The Phillies lost. Your Eagles are 8-0. But hey, man, let's
Yeah,
get in.
I'm actually not in a bad mood. I wasn't
Okay.
expecting them to get past the Cardinals, if I'm being honest,
Really?
with how the season ended. They kind of backed into the playoffs. They didn't really.
Mm,
They hit their stride in July and August. In September, they
mm.
kind of putter a little bit. They kind of backed into the playoffs there. So I wasn't really
Wow.
expecting much. So
I
the
gotta
run that
disagree. Joey. I'm a Braves fan, and listen, when they came into the playoffs, I even said I was like, look, they're the hottest animal out there. They can make a deep run here. But honestly, I said Astros in 6. I felt that way. It's just something about the Astros, man. You guys did your job. You guys took one down to Houston, but when you came home, it just showed me a lot of that no hitter. How do you bounce back from a no hitter, man?
they
It's
would have
hard.
bounced back if their first baseman just knew how to field.
Well, we're not going to talk about Hoskins right now, Joey. We're not going to talk about him. Okay.
He'd be
I'm
the
pretty sure
worst
you. I'm
fielding
pretty sure you want to
person.
put him in a ring with you right now, don't you?
He's terrible.
Well, Joey, listen, man.
I'm
Let's
so
get up.
tired. Getting off topic, but I'm so tired of hearing about the clutch hits he had, because okay, you're a professional player. You're supposed to hit,
Right.
but that doesn't overlook the fact of what you do with your glove. Also, you're literally paid to hit and field. You're not a DH.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, great, you hit some clutch home runs, but we needed you in the field to make routine plays. You were not there, and
Agreed.
I'm not saying that we would have won the game. But look at game 5 here, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
2-1. Altuve's on third.
Mm-hmm.
If Reese catches a routine grounder, Altuve is dead out at third. The next inning, the Phillies score a run, and it would have been 2-2. But
Agreed.
because he just can't
100%.
field a ground ball, that's what happened.
A lot of people were saying that, Joey, like, oh, his bats came alive. He got us to where we're supposed to be. The bats came alive at the
No, he
right
did
time.
his job.
But he did
He
his
did it.
job.
He did the
But he
job
did
he's
it.
paid for.
But he did it 50-50. Just because
Exactly.
you're out there, you got to play both sides of the ball, brother. You know what I mean? You got to
Yeah.
play offense and defense no matter what you do. But it is
And
what
one
it
more
is,
thing
Joey.
before I get off topic, I just want to say one more thing, and then I'll stop. I promise. the armchair the armchair managers who want to talk shit about
Thank you.
Rob, now that the series is lost. Rob
Mm-hmm.
Thompson took over a team that was 8 games under 500, had no
Mm-hmm.
direction, had no drive, had no umph for anything. He turned that team into a World Series team. He
Agreed.
took them to the World Series in large part because of the decisions that he made,
Mm-hmm.
because of the buttons that he pressed. So maybe it was a mistake that he took Wheeler out in the 6th there with the first and third. But in the playoffs, your starters don't get that extra pitches. In the playoffs, you go to the numbers, and the numbers
Mm-hmm.
said Alvarado there against Jordan. Jordan got the better of them, but stop with the armchair.
I hate
the
that.
armchair
I hate that.
managers here who want to second guess Rob now. Because without Rob, we wouldn't have been there.
Joey, we'll get into our show in about 2 minutes here, but exactly what you mean, Joey. Listen, you and I've known you for damn 25 maybe years now, and I coached you in football, and it's just like what coulda, shoulda happened. You know what I mean? Back in the day, like
Exactly. It's easy to say
it's
it now.
it's easy to say it, like, oh, I should have done this, but in the fact of the game, dude, it's a game of seconds. You're going to make the decision in that second. How many times have I second guessed myself coaching you and back in the day? Doing the right thing versus the wrong thing, whatever. But even in football now, it's just like when Monday after your team loses on Sunday. Well, you guys are 8-0, but if you lose on Sunday,
They don't know what that
Monday
feels like.
morning. Shut up, Joey. Shut up, dude. Shut up. Okay, I've only seen it twice this year, Joey. It's pretty damn good. But
And
you know
three
what I mean.
times in 20 years.
Joey, you had to bring that shit up, brother. You always have to get my stabs in, don't you, Joey? Man, I tell
I
you, man.
do. Because you love to get your stabs in every day on Facebook. So I gotta get my stabs in whenever I can.
That's the thing, Joey. But let me get to my point, Joey. Like in pro football, we know our football, Joey. I've coached it. You played it. We both know. We're passionate. We speak how we feel, and right or wrong, it doesn't matter. We feel that way. But I hate the damn Monday morning quarterbacks, man.
Yeah.
I hate that. No matter what you see, oh, well, he should have done this, bro. Have you ever stepped on a field in your life? Like, come on, don't give me that shit.
Isn't there
But
like a saying like that, Paul? It's like everyone's like you coulda, woulda, shoulda. Like, isn't there a saying like if my dad had tits, he'd be my mom? Something like that, like some
yeah,
crazy saying like
exactly.
that.
It's just so
Like
stupid out there,
okay, it's
Joey.
easy to say it now. Like, oh well, if he put this guy in there, we would have
Hmm.
won the game. Okay, it's easy to say it now because the game's over. But if Alvarado would have came in there and struck out Jordan, and then the next play got a double play, everyone will be blowing Rob like he's the next big thing because he made the right decision there and took Wheeler out. They'd have been like, oh, that's the right decision. He did the right choice. But because Alvarez hit a home run off of him, now it's the wrong decision. Like, get out of my face. It's so easy to
Agree.
say it now.
Agree. See, that's why we're going to get into it real quick, Joe. We got like 1 minute before here. We really hop into the 215, show here. That's why probably in the next 2 or 3 weeks, Joey, there is going to be a new show coming out of the box. We haven't named it yet, but you and I are going to start this show, Joey, because I've known you for years, but sometimes I can't stand you, brother. You know that, from the shit you say to me, of our little debates. But at the end of the day, like as soon as the show's over, I can call you and say, I love you, man, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. But coming to the Outbox pretty soon, we're going to have a debate show on there. It might not be me and Joey every week. It might be someone else, but it's a great way to get your topics out there, talk about what you want to talk about, from opinionated, two passionate people out there. So we're definitely going to have fun with that. There's April Pugh out there. That's actually one of my buddies out there from Castle Boxing. He's a boxer, Joey. He's actually a Seattle fan. John, thanks for hopping on there, brother. I greatly appreciate it. I got a bad
Like a
thing to say.
Seahawks fan?
Yes, he is. He's a diehard Seahawks fan. You gotta check him out on Facebook. He's just like me and you, Joey. We talk about our team. We speak passionately about it. He does the same thing, and he knows his game. Let me tell you, diehard Seahawks fan, and I appreciate that. John, once again, thank you for tuning in, brother. Thank you. But Joey, let's get into this, man. Let's get into it. Joey, this is a stack card, brother. UFC 281.
Did you
Stack
expect
card.
anything less, though? I mean, MSG, you got to stack a
Yeah.
card when it's in New York.
Well, we talked about that about what, maybe 2 or 3 months ago, Joey, when we said, MSG, even before it was announced, well, we knew where it was, but they were still putting matches together. MSG, man, the mecca sports arena in the U.S., Joey. Not size-wise, but name recognition, this is the place to be.
And in terms of UFC, it's the mecca because they tried for years and years
Mhm.
to get in there, and it wasn't until 205 that they were legally allowed to house an event there. So
Right,
talk
right.
about mecca of sports. It's the mecca for the UFC because it took them almost 17 years to
Yeah,
finally
17.
get there. So
Hmm. But I mean, this is huge, Joey. I mean, it's a big card here, top to bottom. We're not going to go into the prelims, basically. But let's start at the bottom of the card, Joey. We
yeah,
got Hooker versus Puelas here. I'm going to admit, Joey, I really don't know much about Puelas. I really don't. I had to Google him a little bit to look through him, but of course we know who Dan Hooker is, Joey. I
yeah.
mean, we already know that. What can you give me on these two here, Joey? If you said you don't really know Puelas as well, but what do you know about him, and how does this match going to end? Actually, start up.
Well, it was pretty interesting. Um, it was pretty interesting. This guy actually lost the Ultimate Fighter
Hmm.
when it was Dos Anjos versus Ferguson. He
Okay.
lost the Ultimate Fighter. He's had 6 or 7 fights in the UFC. He's actually, since the Ultimate Fighter lost, gone on a 5-fight win streak since
Hmm.
the Ultimate Fighter. Um, he's a very good fighter. Don't get me wrong. Last defeated Clay Guida, who was a veteran of the sport, a legend of the sport.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
looking at it. It was like a knee, from a knee bar as well. Yeah, I mean, this guy has Joey in his what, one, two, three, five, 4, 5 wins here. He's had 3 knee bars, Joey.
don't let him touch your knee. It looks like because he's
Yeah,
winning.
that's what I'm saying.
Hooker actually came out this week and a little surprisingly said he still views himself as a could be champion, which is a little shocking to me because he's
Hmm.
really kind of been on a losing streak recently. But
Yeah,
then again, if you look at who Hooker has fought the most recently, he's fought
Allen,
nothing but killers, nothing but
mhm.
killers. Um,
Islam.
Islam,
Yeah,
Chandler,
Chandler.
Poirier.
Right, yeah, exactly. And then you go
Like
back to
his
and you go back,
last
and you going back to Edwin Barbosa as well.
his last
You
his
know.
last 9 fights. Just say you're looking
Hmm.
at Barbosa, Vic, Alan Quinta, Paul
Hmm.
Felder, Dustin Poirier, Michael Chandler, Islam, like these Arnold Allen, like these are
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
all top of the top fighters in the UFC. So I mean, couple losses. What is he's 4-5 in those last 9,
Hmm.
which is not great. But I mean, going 50% against the names I just rattled off is very very impressive.
It is. I
Just
mean,
because of who they are.
and that's the thing, Joey. A lot of people look at records. You know, they like, oh, this dude's lost 6 battles, but man, those just like you said, those battles that he's lost, they're legends, man. They're legends. Like even the fifth fight that he lost was Barbosa going that far. It's the name recognition is there with him.
Yeah, I
It
think that's
really
when
is.
Barbosa was on like a
He was on the tear,
was
wasn't
on an absolute
he? Yeah.
tear at that
Mhm.
point.
Yeah. Exactly. 100%.
Like here's the thing is yeah, so before that his Barbosa lost to Kevin Lee and Khabib. And
Hmm.
before that he was on a 3-fight win streak. Here's the thing with the UFC. It's it's practically the NFL of MMA. It's the top the
Yeah.
top of the top of the food chain in terms of fighters.
Hmm.
And if you can rattle off 5 in a row, 4 in a row, that's impressive. You
Hmm.
rarely see fighters go undefeated and stay undefeated once they get to the UFC. It's
That's
very
exactly right.
hard to win and keep winning and stringing fights along
Hmm.
because it's not like boxing where you can just lose on your feet. With MMA, it's you can lose anywhere. Like look at Usman versus Edwards.
Yeah.
Usman
Yeah.
dominated that fight. It took 3 seconds for a head kick to lose.
And what did we say,
It's
Joey? What did
so
we say?
hard.
Usman got 24 minutes and 30 seconds of
Yeah,
nonstop demolishing. Edwards got 30 seconds, and he was a champ. You know, can happen anytime.
yeah.
John says a fighter with a record of full record of fighters is way more impressive than a fighter with a full record of almost guaranteed to win. Exactly, 100% right. I mean, a lot of people look at it, just like Joey and I go. Speaking of, you'll hear a lot of little analogies going back to other sports here, but Joey and I get on Joey all the time. I know it's fun and games, but who had the Eagles beat? I do that to mess with Joey, of course, but you look at strength of schedule. You got to beat the team in front of you. I respect the hell out of the Eagles being 8-0. I don't care if you put the damn 0-8 team in front of you. You beat them. It's your job to beat them. I don't care what they are.
Well, in
But
fairness, they do have the 10th ranked schedule in the NFL. 10th hardest.
oh, Joey, shut up about that.
10th hardest. And they have beat the
No.
number 2 and 3 ranked team in the NFC.
Okay, Joey, it's not my fault that the Rams sucked this year, and the Bengals sucked this year too. That we played them and we
And
beat
the
them.
Bucks suck
So
this year.
okay, well the Bucks suck. You got us in week 1, Joey. Where Dak doesn't play in 8 weeks there. 4 weeks of preseason and 4 weeks of OTA, so we don't play. So I don't want to hear that shit, Joey. Okay, leave me alone. Seriously,
There are a lot of what ifs there.
shoulda, coulda, woulda, brother.
Yeah. The
Hey.
only thing I know is Eagles shoulda, coulda, woulda, but they're 8-0 right now. It's all that matters.
All right, well, Joey, every dog has its eight weeks, brother. Come on. You found it
Looking
in
at the
2006.
looking at the schedule, I think I see about 15 more.
Joey, you do not see 15 more, Joey.
You don't think they're gonna go have at least 15 wins this year? Looking at who they
Okay,
play.
okay, Joey, we're getting off topic here. You know what I'm going to tell you right now? The Eagles are going to be. I hate saying this, Joey. I really do.
Be honest. The
I
Packers
am being
the
honest,
Packers
Joey.
were look like a hard game. Now it looks like it's gonna be a cakewalk. They
Okay,
can't defend the run at all.
okay. Well,
The only test they're gonna have
there's
is the
two. There's
Cowboys.
two. There's
The
two.
Cowboys. No, there's actually five.
No,
The
there's not five.
Cowboys, the Giants twice.
Yeah, yeah, that's one. That's one right there.
So that's three because the Cowboys two
But
Giants
I'm only
games.
going to consider it one. You guys are going to split no matter what the records are, Joey. You're going to split with the Giants. You're going to split.
We'll see. I'm still confident with the Eagles, but and then the Titans.
The Titans, yeah, that's
I think the
if
Titans give anyone a hard shot just because of Derrick Henry.
I agree with that, but I mean, it all comes down to Tannehill. He has no weapons. I mean, look at the stat last week. I mean, he had no tight end. Or it's all tight ends, and Henry pretty much the running
AJ
game.
Brown has more receiving yards than their
It's
whole
so
team.
crew exactly. But
But
I hate to say it, Joey.
When you have Derrick Henry, you're in any game.
Oh, I know. I definitely am. John says real quick. We'll go on before we get back into it. Dallas with the record they have without Dak the first few weeks in present. No, I agree with that 100%. John, check out tomorrow night at what time am I on tomorrow night, Joey? 9:30. 9:30. The
Yeah.
Dallas Cowboys show 215 boys. We keep it real there. Yeah, I said it in week one. Like, look, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm a realist. Joey can, he can say to this too. I thought we were going to be 2-5, 2-6, possibly 3-5 at the best. Dak, yeah, he's on the shelf. Cooper did his job, but the man's back. Hey, you got to win what's in front of you. So hopefully, but Joey, before we get into it, I think you guys are 15-2. I see the two games that you probably lose. I think you're going to split with Dallas because it might not mean anything at that point,
Yeah.
And also, I think you're going to lose to probably either the Giants or, as you said, the Titans as well. That's what I think.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think, like you said, I don't think they'll play their starters when
But
they
okay,
play
Joey, let me ask you this real quick. Who's your last game of the season? Real quick. I know we're going off topic here. That's the way out of the box runs. We're
the
crazy. We're wild.
Giants.
Let me ask you this, Joey. Okay, here it is. You guys are 16-0, Joey. Ready to go for history here. You're playing the Giants. You already have a 2-game lead on the division.
You gotta
Everything's
play your
wrapped up.
starters.
Do you play to win that game, or do you
gotta
play
play to win,
to
and here's why. Here's why. Because at 16-0, you're already off next week.
Thank you. Okay,
You
because you're the number one seed. You're gonna have 2 weeks. You're gonna have a 2 week
afford
bye.
to have 2 weeks off.
Great. Okay.
You can't afford that.
Okay.
The best
Yeah.
like the best way to stay ready is iron sharpening iron. You know what I mean? And you can't possibly be ready for a playoff game with 2 weeks off. It's impossible.
Agree. I like that. I like the philosophy because a lot of people don't understand being the number one seed. You definitely have to buy the first week. So basically, you're in a 2 week layover. 2 week buy there. So
Honestly, I don't really care for the buys. The biggest thing, and you can admit this, is Philadelphia in the playoffs at home is one of the hardest, maybe outside of KC and
maybe Seattle. Honestly, really.
Seattle,
Mhm.
maybe one of the hardest atmospheres to win in
Oh, I
the
agree.
entire NFL.
I agree 100%. I mean, Dallas has totally flipped to 180 because you could be in the playoffs. Look at last year, how many tickets were sold to the damn 49ers.
Yeah, that's Dallas's fault
You
though,
know?
because Jerry's World is so nice that people are willing to travel there to see the games,
Mhm.
and that unfortunately is why. And a lot of times, Dallas tickets go for a lot of money, and those fans want to make the money back off their tickets, so they'll sell them for that. Where
Mhm.
unfortunately, Eagles fans, I'm not saying Dallas fans aren't diehards, but
But
Eagles fans are more localized.
yeah, but even still, Joey, like I've been to quite a few Dallas Cowboy games, and I tell you, going down there, I paid my money to buy tickets, airfare, whatever, hotel. But I get pissed off seeing that stadium because it's not a sea of blue.
Yeah.
It's a sea.
But what
Is
I'm saying about localized, Paul,
Mhm.
is Dallas fans are more spread
Mhm.
out across the
Oh,
country.
of course, yeah.
So they're traveling to the games,
Mhm.
whereas Eagles fans are more localized to the city. You don't really have many
Agree.
fans outside of the city, so that's why I think you see more all green at the Eagles game compared to
Mhm.
Cowboys because the Cowboys fans are traveling, so it's a lot easier for other fans to also travel to the Cowboys games.
Mhm. And there's Linda Duarte checking out. Linda, how you doing, hon? Appreciate you checking in. Thank you for that. Also, I mean, just like before we go back into it, Joe, us, we go off out of the box here. We go crazy on all subjects there, but that's where the coin, Joey, comes in. Welcome to our backyard, and Philly establishes that the best because, just like you said, it's a cliche of people, local people that support their team. Tri-state area. It's all
Yeah.
Eagles, and when you come to the link, even going back to the vet days, Joey, it's welcome to our backyard. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
And another thing, Paul, and another why I think the Eagles have such a good home field advantage, it's because of, and you know this too, the stereotype of the Eagles fans. A lot of people who have never been to Philly before,
Mhm.
they hear that stereotype of the Eagles fans, which isn't
Mhm.
always true, and you know this too.
Mhm.
And they're fearful to come to a game.
Yeah.
Like you have fans, like for example, just say it's the Eagles and the Bucks,
Hmm.
round two here. The Buccaneers fans might be a little fearful to come to Philadelphia just because they hear all these stories about Philadelphia fans and how rough and rugged they are, and they don't want to come here.
Hmm.
And that kind of it helps the Eagles. I'm not gonna lie, it helps the Eagles. It keeps the other team's fans out of our stadiums because they're so fearful. It's not true, but unfortunately, that is how it is.
Hmm. There's Hendrix Fake saying YP. What is that, Joey? I'm old, Joey.
I think
What's
he's
YP?
saying like, "Yup."
Yeah, okay, there we go. But yeah, Joe, I've been to a lot of the Eagles games, Cowboys games, and I lived in Philly for over 30 years, Joey, and I know what Philly fans are. You respect them, you hate them, but at the end of the day, listen, man, they're fans of their team no matter what. Unless you remember my old SUV, Joey, where I had the star on the back. That son of a bitch got smashed right outside Chicken Pete's, right outside my house before, with a brick. But,
Yeah,
I,
there's definitely bad fans in the bunch. Don't get me wrong,
mhm.
but the notion that all Eagles fans are like scumbag and stuff is just dumb. It's just stupid because there's always bad fans everywhere, and of
Oh, yeah,
course,
everywhere,
like
no matter what.
the media loves to hype it up, especially in Philadelphia
Hmm.
when you see shit go on in other fans also, and they don't ever really want to address it.
Yeah,
They don't ever want to make a big deal out of it. But when it's Eagles fans or Philadelphia fans,
they get the
it's a
bad rap.
big deal.
Yeah. Linda says it's called unsportsmanlike when fans are assholes. I mean, that's every team in the world. Honestly, like, I'll tell you a story real quick. Joe, you know my son Shane. He's a big shit brick house now. He's like 6'3", built like looks like. Remember I showed you the picture? Looks like Roman Reigns now is what he looks like.
Yeah,
But I mean, he's built like that. But we went to a game, Joey. Shane and I went to the game, and of course you know me, Joey. I never back down. I always wear my blue no matter what. I was at the game and I had a hoodie on, and Shane was next to me. This was about 2 years ago, I think. Yeah, about 2 years ago. This guy poured popcorn down my back in my hoodie, you know. And I turned around. I was like, "Yo, what's your problem, man?" He goes, "Oh, Eagles suck. I mean, Cowboys suck." I'm like, "Whatever, dude. Just whatever. You're drunk as fuck. That's what it is." And like Shane got up and he was like, "Yo, we can take this outside right here. We can go right over here and do what you have to do." And the funny thing is, Joey, all the Eagles fans around him. Actually, you know how Joey in the link you can call that security number and they come
yeah,
down to where you're at. Security came to me like within like 2 minutes, Joey. Like five security guards came running at me, and I was like, "Yo, I'm not leaving, brother. I paid my ticket. I'm sitting here for the game. This asshole behind me, Joey." I respected Eagles fans so much because that day, 5 or 6 Eagles fans were right around him and said, "No, it's the Eagles asshole here." And I was like, "Man, thank you so much." They're like, "Can I get you a beer? Can I get you this?" I was like, "How about we do this? I get you around, you get me around."
yeah,
There are good fans no matter what, Joey. Whatever you talk about, but you're right. The Eagles do get a bad rap. I mean, it's Philly, Joey. You know that. How many times have we seen a fan throw something at a player in the NBA and get shit on for that? Not even shit on, but the Eagles do it. My God, it's front page of the New York Times. You know that,
yeah,
Joey.
yeah.
You know
Exactly,
that. You know
exactly.
that. Yep. Let's get before we get into it. There is Ken Fry. That is the Batman himself. That is Batcave Ken Fry. Wednesday mornings he'll be on this week, and he's going bi-weekly after that, talking New York Mets, and he's going to give you all about the World Series, what he's seen in his eyes, diehard Mets fan, and also Saturday night 10 p.m. Oh my God, Joey! Finally, there's a worse team than the Dallas Cowboys out there. It's called the Las Vegas Raiders, Joey.
The one
And
year I needed the Raiders to be good because here's the thing. Here's the thing. They have a quarterback, right? So they're not going to take a quarterback in the draft. They're the
exactly.
only team in the top
It doesn't
five
need one.
that doesn't need one, and the Eagles finally have a top five pick because of the Saints, and they're going to take one of the players that we obviously want.
Well, Joey, there was that one word, as we all college fans want to say, you're not getting Will Anderson this year.
That's fine. I'll take the dude from
Oh,
Clemson,
oh, the DT.
Miles.
Oh, okay, I know someone. Yeah, yeah. You guys got to get an awesome pick, but yeah, check him
Him
out
and
every
Jordan
Saturday.
Davis for years to come.
Oh God, don't even get me started, Joey. Please, we're going back to 215, Joey.
Wait, one last thing. People have talked about Jordan Davis and how he's a wasted pick. Did the teams not see the Eagles rush defense last week without Jordan Davis compared to when he's there on the field?
It's back out there, Joey. I know a lot of people won't, you try to picture this, but just picture this is how I picture Joey having Joey Woods not play nose tackle for me. That's what it was like night and day. Like
Yeah,
when
I
you
mean
play
Jordan
nose
Davis.
tackle,
We have a 350-pound man
Mhm.
clogging up the middle. It's
That's the way it was back in the day. Joey put you at nose tackle and like, all right, you want to rub the 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 5 hole or the 7 hole?
yeah.
Go right ahead, brother. Go right ahead. I got nasty Joey there. So hey, but before we get into it, Linda, there's always bad apples in some tree. You're damn right. I mean, that's any sport, any city, any fandom of any team out there. It's going to happen. But The one thing that I love talking about. Let's get back to the UFC, Joey.
Yeah, for sure.
Dan Hooker again. Now, as we were speaking about him. I mean, his losses, Joey, are two top-notch people. Look at
Yeah.
Islam. I mean, now let me ask you this: his last two matches, Joey, are first-round KOs. A submission by Khmer to Islam, and even Arnold punched him out in the first round. Do you see something going away for that, or are we talking about who he fought, Joey?
See, I think it's a little bit of everything with Hooker, because Hooker actually, like when COVID was in the full swing of it and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
Hooker is from, I believe, Australia, right, or New Zealand, one of those
One
two.
of those two over there, yeah.
Um, their COVID restrictions were insane with
Mm-hmm.
what they had to do over there. So like when he was training and stuff, like he'd be here in America training.
Mm-hmm.
When his fights were over, he still wasn't able to see his family for like 20 or something days because they kept him in isolation when he came back to New Zealand, and he couldn't cross over a like there's literally pictures of him like coming back to New Zealand
Mm-hmm.
and like having to stand over a line and wave to his family and stuff because he couldn't do it. And I think that plays a little bit of a part also,
Mm-hmm.
like knowing like that even after this fight's over and you go back to your family, like you can't see them
You're right.
still. Like I
You're
think
right.
that played a little bit of part, but I do think the biggest thing is the strength of opponents
I agree.
was extreme. I think it was a lot of deciding factor. I also think that Islam fight was very short notice, if I'm not mistaken. I think,
I believe
yeah,
it
he
was.
won
Yeah.
September 25th,
Mm-hmm.
and then literally a month later went to
Yeah, you're right.
Dubai
It's pretty
and
much
fought Islam.
the next UFC match, Joey. I mean, you're looking at September 25th to October 30th. That's
Yeah,
six
the next
days.
pay per view.
Not even 35 days, really, Joey. Like, come on.
Yeah, the next pay per view he went literally
Mm-hmm.
went over there
Yep.
and
Yep.
fought. So I think that played a little bit of factor too. Is a little bit of
Mm-hmm.
that is just how often he's fighting. You look at
Agree. Agree.
2021. He fought 3 times. That's kind of a lot in terms of the UFC fighting 3 times in 1 year.
You're right. From January to October, not even really. That's only what 10 months, Joey. Really, if you think about it,
Yeah. So every
10 months.
3 months he's fighting, which is crazy to
And,
think.
and the people that he fought, Joey, like Islam, Chandler, and Nasrat. I mean, that's something that fighters really don't do. If you wanted that namesake recognition, you don't fight those players, those people in 1 year. Not to mention three in a year. But
Yeah.
Joey, coming off the two back-to-back losses with Hooker here, is it fighting Puelas? I mean, he's not a top-notch ranked MMA fighter. What does this do for Hooker's reputation? Okay, I'm back on track. What do you feel about that? If he loses, does he hang it up? What do you think?
Um. Nah, he still. I mean, as of this week, he was saying he still thinks he can be a champion in UFC. So Hooker is still
Mm-hmm.
highly confident in himself.
Okay.
Um, I mean, I could see this fight going either way. Obviously, if Hooker gets taken down, he has to protect those knees, as we've seen from his previous
Yeah.
fights. But I think this fight could go either way. If Hooker is able to keep it on the feet,
Mm-hmm.
Hooker Hooker is very good in the stand up. So I mean, it'll be interesting to see.
Exactly. I agree. I mean, I think it's just like we said, Joe. It was a name people that he fought there, of course. But what if Puelas wins this? Does this escalate him up to top 10 here? What do you think?
Is Hooker still ranked in the top 10?
I didn't even look at the rankings, Joey. I didn't even look at the
I
rankings
look at
on
the
it.
ranking real fast because the
Because I don't
rankings
think Pulis
change.
is in there. I actually had to look him. I had to scroll down before I found him, I believe. But while you're doing that, Joey, let me put a couple things out there. Listen, if you're out there, listening to us for the first time, or if you're a weekly viewer of all of our other box shows, hit that subscribe button, hit that follow button on Facebook. Of course, there's Fight Club 215 podcast. You can check them out also on YouTube, streaming live every time we're on. Of course, we're on YouTube. All of our shows, everything's on there. Hit that subscribe button. And of course, we're on Twitch as well. Same thing, man. And on Facebook, if you like us on Facebook, hit that notify button, hit that follow button, hit that share button for all the upcoming shows coming out there. If you want to know what's coming up, a weekly schedule or a pop-up shows, hit that follow button. We'll notify you when we go live every time.
So Hooker is 12th.
Oh wow, I didn't think it was that. I didn't know he was that low. Was he?
That the guy he's fighting isn't ranked at all. So if
Yeah.
he wins, realistically, you're looking at probably like 14, 13-ish.
Okay. Okay.
So I mean, it's a huge opportunity for him to get into the top 10.
It is for him. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go with who's been hot. I think Hooker takes a loss here.
Oh, you want to get predictions now as we go?
Yeah, I'm gonna.
All right. Okay.
I think it's better just to do predictions on each fight rather than to go back to each
Okay.
fight.
Okay.
I think Hooker takes the loss here. I think if you're looking at the trends, Hooker's gonna lose
Whoa.
by submission.
Really? Wow. I'm going to have to go with Hooker here, Joey. I'm going to take Hooker on this one. I don't think it's. I don't think it's going to be.
I'm not confident. I don't know. I haven't
Yeah.
watched enough of
That's
this
what I
other
mean.
guy
That's
to
what I mean. It's like a pick
truly
'em.
know.
Yeah, I'm going by name recognition. Coming out there as who he's fought. Strength of schedule wise, Joey. Strength of schedule. We'll put it that way. I'm probably going to have to go with Hooker here, but the wild card, man. It's like I always say in sports, Joey. If you're a wounded animal, you're the most dangerous animal out there, and that's what Pujols is. We don't know what he is. He's not wounded, but we don't know what this cat is. We don't know. I don't know. So, but I mean, it's a pick him to me, but I'm gonna have to go Hooker here. I'm probably gonna go Hooker. All right, well, let's get into the next event, Joey. I mean, hey, Frankie Edgar's back, Joey.
Yeah, this
You
is
know,
ultimately his. He's already made it known. This is his retirement fight. This is going to be it for him.
mm-hmm.
Going out with his people, Tom's River, New Jersey guy.
Yeah.
New York City is going to be his people there that night. So
Mm-hmm.
what a better way to go out here?
But
Um,
Joey, before you get into that, I mean, is he in the same situation as Hooker here? I mean, listen, you lost to Vera, you lost to Sanhagen, you beat Moonhost, you lost to Cheng Sung, and you lost to Holloway. I mean, you're looking at 5 out of 7 losses in your last
yeah, but
event. So
even more so than Hooker, those names you just said, like Marlon Vera might be next in line for the belt. I
I
mean,
agree. I agree.
I think he's the only guy in the UFC that actually beat um, Sugar O'Malley.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Sanhagen just lost a title eliminator to TJ Dillashaw in a very close fight.
Mm-hmm.
Pedro Munoz is a very good fighter.
Yeah.
Um, the Korean Zombie just fought for the belt.
Mm-hmm.
Max Holloway is a
Just
stud.
the
Cub
name.
Swanson is
Yeah.
again another top veteran in the game. Brian Ortega, Yair Rodriguez, like these names are
Aldo. Yeah, Aldo. Like it's losing to
just
Aldo.
incredible.
It's
Just
that's,
incredible.
that's what I mean. I mean, I'm not saying it that way, Joey. I just want to see with the strength of schedule as well. You look at his losses, like 5 out of 7
Yeah, he
here.
hasn't fought in a year, Paul. I'll be interested
That's
to
the
see
thing. That's the thing. Exactly.
how that plays in effect.
That's what I wanted to ask you next. I mean, that year layover, Joey. I mean, his last match was November 6th, 2021, Joey, where it was
Yeah.
a 3-round, kick by Marlon Vera. I mean, Joey, is that we always talk MMA, Joey. We always say that layover. Listen, man, it's not a layover. It's not a rust thing in the MMA, but a year, Joey. That's pretty damn significant, man. Seriously,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I mean, don't get me wrong, Edgar trains with some of the best.
Hmm.
So I'm sure they're keeping him sharp there.
Hmm.
But a
Yeah,
year is a long time.
that's what I mean. I mean, I know name recognition here. We think about it, but my God, a year layover, Joey. That's kind of big. I mean, Gutierrez is when was his last fight? He looked at
March.
we're looking at March, yeah, where he fought Diana, I think his name was, or something like that. But Joey, what do you think of this guy? I mean, I really have. He's just like the Pierre to me. I really haven't watched him that much, honestly.
Yeah. Ken saying he should be well rested.
He should be well rested. He should be, Ken. I mean, a year layover. I mean,
Yeah.
damn, if you think about it. But I don't know, Joey. I really don't know, man. A year is pretty damn significant in any sport, Joey. I mean,
Yeah, my biggest question mark for Edgar is going to be is the chin still there? As you get older in age,
yeah.
the chin goes a little bit. It starts to
Mm-hmm.
deteriorate, and then all the wars that Edgar's been. I mean, he's been in some wars. Him and Maynard, they had some absolute wars. Them two together. BJ Penn and him had some wars.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be very interesting.
Yep. Ken says, I feel like Edgar was fighting back when Shamrock roamed the world, fighting the world, longer career. Yeah, he's been out there for a long time. I mean, he's one of the names when you think of UFC, MMA, you have to bring him up. There's certain guys out there you have to bring
Edgar
up.
has been in it since UFC 67.
That's what I mean. I mean, you look at this 281 back in 67, Joey. Joey, speaking of, UFC events, man, could you imagine who was in UFC one, Joey. Like, can you name any people out there that we know or we reach out
Yeah,
to?
well, we're working on it. We're working on it. Nothing 100% set in
Mhm.
stone yet, but UFC one veteran, Art Jimmer, uh, who fought Royce Gracie.
Mhm.
He's more known as the One Glove,
Yes.
Art Jimerson. We're in talks with him. It's not 100% yet, but we're trying. Possibly get him on a show
Mhm.
coming up. Not Mark Coleman. Mark Coleman is
No.
he's not all there in the head these days, but yeah, what if he fought Royce Gracie in the first ever UFC when the UFC was truly the Ultimate Fighting Championship and it
Mhm.
was all the fighting styles put together. So you had a boxer versus a grappler. They weren't versed in all aspects of the game. They were
Exactly.
good on one thing, and it was a test to see which fighting style was the best. And unfortunately for Art, the boxer got the grappler, and that grappler was Royce Gracie, one of the best submission experts in the history of the sport. And it wasn't a
Yeah.
good night for him, but
Yeah.
we're trying to get him on this show, talk about his experience, talk about one of the big things that we want to talk about with him is how that transpired. The
Mhm.
UFC's announced. How'd you go about getting that get on there and stuff, and go from there. But it's be very very interesting that if we are able to get on the show. We've been in talks with him. We got to settle everything, and once we have a date lined up, we'll let everyone know, and we'll be posting on our page.
And that's why we always tell everybody out there hit that subscribe button, especially on Facebook, for all of our upcoming events. But once again, always on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, Twitter. Always check it out because if you want to be notified of what's going on, if we get Art on there, hey, listen, you don't want to miss that show. He's a legend in the game. UFC 1. We're at 281. Think about that for a while. Just think about that for a while of what he meant to the sport and where he's still at. But Joey, give me a fight prediction on this fight here, Joey. What do you think? What do you got with this one?
I'm gonna go with my heart here, and
Okay.
just as a fan, I want Edgar to be able to go out on top.
I think so too. It's his last hurrah, man. We've seen, over the last couple of years, we've seen some fighters retire, Joey. Some shed tears when they retire. I shed a couple tears on a couple of them. Not gonna lie, a grown man crying. Listen, I'm glad I'm in my own room watching it here, but this one might give me some tears as well. I mean, if you're a UFC fan, that's been around for the days of, since just like Joey said, it might bring some tears to your eyes, man. So why not go out like John Elway and Peyton Manning and win the last hurrah? Go out with on somebody's shoulders, man. Even though your career is satisfying and you no matter what you should be walking out that way, but go
And
out with
he's
the win, man.
he's
Go out.
definitely gonna be come
An analyst?
July.
Think he's gonna be an analyst, Joey?
No, come July, he's definitely going to be in the Hall of Fame. So
Oh, definitely, definitely will, definitely, Joey. I agree with
yeah.
that 100%. Well, hey, listen, we're not gonna stop there, Joey. We're going into another fight here. Dustin Poirier, Michael
Mm.
Chandler. Like, does this card ever stop, Joey? Does this
Yeah,
card
this is
stop?
this is definitely one of the more forget about rankings, forget about the implication of this fight.
Yes,
In terms
yes.
of fans wanting to see a fight, this
Mm-hmm.
is definitely one of those fights that all the fans are lining up for.
Yes, it is.
Chandler, I believe it was I'm not sure if I have it backed up, but I believe Chandler was talking about who he wants to fight coming up. Kind
Mm-hmm.
of left Poirier off the list. Poirier felt a little dissed
Seen
at
that.
that point, said "F you, I don't want to fight you."
Mm-hmm.
Got Chandler's blood rolling a little bit, and then that's how this fight transpired.
Mm-hmm.
But you're talking about two guys at the top who kind of they need this fight for each other. They need this fight. You got Dustin Poirier who lost
He lost to Oliveira and Khabib, Joey. This is his last two.
lost to Oliveira, and
Mm-hmm.
Chandler also lost to Oliveira.
Exactly.
This is kind of like
A seeding match. Who is ready for the opportunity, Joey? Strictest schedule here, Joey. Is what I see.
yeah, for sure. And I just think
This is Dana's way saying, hey, well, 2 and 3 are fighting. Who wants the number one contender spot? The
yeah,
matchups there. Who you beat? Who I beat? Who you beat? Well, I beat this person. You beat that person.
yeah. I'm very curious for this fight.
Mm-hmm.
For one of two reasons. They're both good strikers. I definitely think Poirier is a better striker. I think he's a better striker by a lot, honestly, if I'm being honest. I
Mm-hmm.
think Poirier's boxing is a lot better than Chandler's stand up.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that Chandler's takedown and wrestling is a lot better than Poirier's.
I think so. Yeah, I agree with that one as well.
But what we have seen from Chandler since he's been in the UFC is he's been more of a brawler and not really someone who uses his strength to his
Agree.
advantages. So I'm really interested to see if Chandler uses his strengths and tries to get this to the ground at some point during the fight to try to control the ground and pound and
Do you think that's his
eke
only
out the
shot, Joey?
point.
Do you think that's his only shot to win this fight?
No, because Chandler does have some power in his hands, and
Mm-hmm.
we have seen Dustin caught before and
Oh yeah.
dropped before.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, when you get Dustin is a great stand up fighter. Don't get me wrong, but when you get him in these wars, he tends to brawl just like Chandler,
Mm-hmm.
which leads to a fun fight. But I think Chandler has a chance to catch him. But if Chandler wants to save his bet to victor, I think getting it to the ground is Chandler's best bet.
Do you think it's going to be one of those where shoulda, coulda, woulda? You
I think
know,
it's a quick fight. I think it's a quick fight. I
really,
do.
you think it's a quick fight, huh? Wow. Okay. Well, so
I think.
what do you got? What do you got? This
I
is a toss up to me, Joey. I mean, I love both of these fighters here, and it's just,
think
man.
Poirier does enough to keep it on the feet. And I think Poirier wins by a TKO.
And you call it early? What do you call it early? It's a 3 round fight. What do you got?
I think the first half of the second round.
All right, so you're going mid level, probably between 7 and maybe 9 minutes, pretty much, right?
I think Poirier clips him early in the first round.
Okay.
Chandler's able to survive, and then I think come second round, Poirier clips him again, but Chandler's just not able to recover, and he gets
Okay.
TKO'd.
All right, I'm going to stay with Poirier as well. I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a 3rd round knockout. I think it's going to come down to that. It's all going to define how exactly like you said, Chandler. Chandler takes him to the ground. This might be a little bit different fight where it's going to expand the distance, Joey. You know, to deep into the 3rd round. Bless you.
Thank you.
But I think it's going to come down to that as well. I think Poirier, if it's a stand up game, I think Poirier he might get caught a little bit, but I think Poirier will keep him upright, and I think it's probably going to be a late. Now I'm going to say early third. I'm just like I said, I'm going to stay with early 3rd round KO. You know, but it's all going to depend on that
Yeah, you
ground.
gotta think that Chandler's probably fighting for his UFC career here.
That's what I mean. That's what I was thinking as well. But I mean, I'm going to go with Poirier here. If Chandler can do what he needs to do, respect to him. But you think about his career, Joey. I mean, he beat Ferguson last, with the TKO. He
He's
lost to
two and
Gaethje. You
he's
know
2-2 in the UFC, and he's fought all top 5 fighters.
that's what I mean, Joe. The only person, I mean, the last the fights that he had was Salvador Woods, of course, and the other guy RB. I can't even pronounce his last name, but you look at his last 4 fights, Joey. Ferguson, Gaethje, Oliveira, and Hooker. Like, okay, yeah, you go 2-2, you're 50%, man. But you fought legends, top ranked. Like
Yeah,
this is well deserved for him. A lot of people I seen on Twitter that he doesn't deserve this. Well, man, you get in the damn ring. You go with these ultimate fighters out there. Who he's fought, man. You see if you make it out of there. Come on, really. But I'm gonna go Poirier, 3rd round KO. I'm gonna go there. You got him a 2nd round, Joey, right?
yeah.
All right. Well, let's get into it. Hey, there's 2 championship fights here, Joey. Esparza versus Weili. I love one of them, Joey. I love watching this chick fight, Weili. I love watching her fight, Joey. But
Yeah.
man, Esparza, man, she is no joke, Joey. No joke.
No. I mean, and this is another one we were just talking about previously. Um, if she's able to get it to the ground,
Mm-hmm.
I think she's a very good shot. But she has Welly has very good takedown defense. She's so
Yeah.
strong.
Yes.
That's people don't realize is how strong she is. She's a very, very strong
Mm-hmm.
fighter. I mean, there was a video came out the other day where she picked up Francisco Ngannou
Yeah,
with
exactly. Like
one
you literally
hand,
picked them
with
up.
one arm.
Mm-hmm.
Like this chick is strong.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that'll be the biggest factor is because I definitely think Welly has the better of the stand up. I think if Welly can connect,
Yeah.
she can put Esperanza to sleep. But I think the wrestling comes into play here. I
I
think
agree.
because Welly a lot of times Welly goes fights at 100.
Mm-hmm.
She kind of goes in
Yeah.
there and just like energize the body and just kind of goes for
Mm-hmm.
5 rounds. And I wonder if as I'm just gonna call her Cookie Monster. I keep messing up her last name, but I'm wondering if she plays it back, and kind of like what we saw with the Thug Rose fight, she kind of plays
Yeah.
it slow,
Hmm.
and it kind of goats Welly into making a mistake
Hmm.
because she goes so fast in every fight. She kind of slowed down the last couple of fights
Hmm.
because she kind of got into some wars there, and it she got caught a couple times there.
Hmm.
But I just wonder if maybe uh, Esperanza kind of slows it down and causes Welly to make a mistake, and then she's able to get it to the ground and then control that way. But I just think it's a hard
Yeah.
fight for her to win
I
and
think it is
retain.
too. I think Welly wins this fight, and I'll get into that. Well, there's my prediction early, but I agree with 100%, Joey. I think Carla has to take this to the ground, but Zelly has an incredible takedown defense as well, and we've seen like there is no such thing as glass jaw, in Welly's game. I mean, she gets punched with the best of the best, and she has an
I
iron.
don't even care about her takedown defense, Paul. I just think she's so strong
Oh yeah,
that unless you catch her in a awkward position, I don't see how she can complete a takedown
that's what I mean.
just because of the pure strength.
Yeah, and we know it's just like you said with Nagano. That I mean, I looked at that on Twitter, Joe, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, "Oh, this is staged." Then
Yeah,
like, holy shit, the look on Nagano's
and
face.
and Nagano even said he was scared afterwards. He thought he was going to get dropped
Yeah,
because he's so heavy, and she's 115,
and
5'4".
it wasn't just like a lift, Joe. It was a lift and carry a little bit. Like,
Yeah,
holy shit! Like, you got to be kidding me, man. Like, my God, a 115 pounder can bench like 280. That's what it was like,
yeah,
Think about that. But Joey, I think the title changes here, man. I really do. I really do here. I love Zelly. I love watching her fight. Going back to the other fights. I mean, even when she fought Rose, Joey, I thought that she could have won those fights. But I mean, you look at Esparza. Her record is almost unblemished. I mean, she lost 2 fights early in 2018, but she beat Rose actually in May. On that card, the 274.
yeah. Zhang's takedown defense is 60%, which is is
Yeah,
is a is
exactly.
a is a nice amount. Honestly, it's
Hmm.
it's a pretty good
Agree.
amount for the level of fighter she is and the level of competition she's fought.
Hmm.
60% is a very good takedown defense.
Hmm. And
Um,
her striking power, Joey, is insane off the charts, man.
and we saw it the last fight when she fought Joanna.
Oh my
She
God, yeah,
spinning
yeah.
back fist and put the lights out.
Yeah, I mean that was just an insane timing. That punch was just like, holy shit, did that really just happen? But I mean, just like
Yeah,
if she connects, Joey, it could go two ways. I mean, no, it really can't go two ways. I mean, I do want to say that, but I don't want to say that in ways because Zelly, if she connects Joey, it could be over very quickly, very quickly. But Esparza has to play this the correct way, Joey. She really does. I mean, don't be discouraged if you can't get Zelly on a takedown. If you can't get her, you might have to go back to that again and again. To
yeah,
wear her out because we see it a lot of times, Joey, where a fighter, Joey, if I'm a stand up guy and you're a ground pounder, and I want to try to keep you up. Don't get discouraged. I mean, don't let that play into a factor. Go with what you're known for. There's a lot of times, a lot of fighters, a lot of people out there, the Monday morning quarterbacks on or Monday morning, managers of UFC. Oh, that was boring, man. He should have done this. He should have done that. No, he won the fight. He did what he had to do.
yeah,
Very simple. I don't care how you look at it. A W is a W, brother.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, what do you think this is going to end, Joe? We'll go into the final match. I'm going to go Zelly KO. Now, this is a 5-round fight. So I don't think it's going to go 5 rounds, Joey. I think we're going to look at probably third round. I'm going to think Zelly here gets the KO third round.
See, I think if it gets to the third round,
It benefits
it's
Esparza.
it's because I think Esparza is able to get the takedown.
Mm-hmm.
I think Zhang wins by second round KO.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I
I
agree with exactly what you
I
said. The
think
longer it goes,
if
it benefits
Esparza
Esparza.
if it goes into the later round, I think it's because Esparza is successful in getting the takedown.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me wrong, Esparza has some good stand up, but it's definitely not on
Zelly's level. Yeah,
Zhang's level.
agree.
So I just think if it gets to those later rounds, it's because Esparza is successful with getting those takedowns and
Okay.
making it a grind out, a grind out fight. And that's another thing I'm interested to see is we know that Zhang goes at 100, and we know that she has an endless gas tank. But
Mm-hmm.
if Esparza is able to get her to the ground a couple times and kind of drag out long grappling sequences, and we get into
Yeah.
the fourth and fifth round, does that gas tank still carry over? Because we know she's had this gas tank in
Hmm.
every fight where she's just able to just go. I'm interested to see if it turns into a more of a grappling type fight. Does does Zhang's gas tank carry her through to the fifth round?
Well, speaking of that, Joey, I mean, I don't remember. I'm getting old, so I really don't remember a lot of things. But when she fought Rose, I mean, the first one she lost in a first round kick. First round kick to head, she lost. But the second one, she did go 5 rounds. Do you remember how she looked in the fourth and fifth round versus Rose?
I don't, and Rose isn't the same wrestler
Exactly. That's what I
as
mean.
Esparza is. So I'm curious to see if Esparza is able to lean on her a little bit, and kind of make it more of a grappling fight, which is what we're saying she has to do and able to win the fight.
Mhm.
I'm interested to see where that gas tank is at that point.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I mean, if it goes beyond third round, I'm going to probably the odds, my odds personally, are going to probably switch, to Esparza because the longer it goes, it's going to tell me a lot. If she going to be, is the gas tank going to become empty? Is it half full now? Because it's like you said, she goes 100%, never runs out of gas, and the later it goes, and maybe it gets, I don't think it gets as good
And
as
and we're not saying that she doesn't have a gas tank. We're just saying you don't know.
right.
We
It's
don't
it's
know at
it's
this
it's
point.
unseen at this point because it hasn't been clearly. It was just with Rose that was pretty much it. But like I said, with Esparza's ground game, she relies on that. So we're going to see what she's made of. We already know her stand up game. You hit her, she could be knocked out, and she's going to come back within 5 seconds. And they're like, "I'm here." That's the way she
Yeah.
is. But that ground game is going to determine a lot. How much is that going to take away from her being on the bottom? Trying to avoid the submission, trying to avoid continuous ground and pound on the ground. So we'll definitely see that. But I'm gonna go with Zelly third round KO here. I'm gonna go third round, Joey.
Okay.
You got a second. Okay. All right, cool. All right, well, hey, Joey, here it is, man. The main event. Now, I know about 6 months ago, Joey, I don't know if you remember this, but I did say this is gonna be his first loss. I know he lost to him back in the kickboxing day, Joey. I'm not even considering talking about that, but I said about 6 months ago, after Pierre won that fight, I said, my God, it's gonna happen. I think Izzy loses his first fight here. Do you think my opinion has changed now, or what do you think?
I don't think you've changed your opinion, but I don't think Izzy loses.
Okay, tell me why.
It's sure he lost in kickboxing,
Hmm.
but this is MMA. You're able to
Right.
grapple and you're able to push him against the fence and kind of eke out the points a little easier than you would be in kickboxing when you're right in each other's face and literally only two things you're allowed to do is punch and kick. This is
Hmm.
a little more well rounded. I think I hate to say this, but I think Izzy makes it a boring fight where
That's what I'm thinking.
he's able to get in, land his punches and get out.
Yes.
Because I think Alex is using those two knockouts in the back of his
Yeah.
mind
Yeah.
um, as motivation and as a guiding kind of what to do this time. And I think he looks for the knockout a little too much,
Yeah.
and I think he leaves himself open for Izzy to get in,
Yeah.
land, and get out, which is what we see him do.
Hmm.
Because let's face it, I mean Alex has some power. Don't get me wrong,
Right.
but
Right.
so does the guy he fought last fight in Jarrett. There was one guy who fought at heavyweight, and came all
Yeah.
the way down to 185. Um, so we know he has power in his hands too, and Izzy was able to get in,
Hmm.
land, and get out. I just think in MMA it's a different ball game, different sport.
Hmm.
Sure, they're striking in both, but it's not the same. And I think Izzy's a little more experienced, a little more well versed in the game of MMA. And I think
Agreed.
that comes into play
Okay.
here. I honestly, it's gonna be a little shocking. I wouldn't be shocked if Izzy shoots for a takedown once or twice in this fight.
Wow. Really?
If you look at Izzy and who he's fought and who he's trained with and how long he's been in MMA compared
Hmm.
Alex, I mean it's night and day in terms of what does Alex have, like 6 or 7 MMA fights total?
6-1. Yeah.
For MMA, he's
He's a
seven.
40. Yeah.
He's 6-1 with 7 total fights.
Right.
Right? It's look at his one loss. It was a submission by rear naked choke.
Hmm.
He's had 3 total fights in the UFC.
Hmm.
I I'm just curious if
Agree.
maybe wrestling comes into play a little. I'm not saying Izzy's a great wrestler,
Right.
but
I don't
I
see that
think
happening, Joe. I don't see Izzy. I'll agree with you. I'll let you finish before I say what I'm going to say. Go ahead.
I always gotta say expect the unexpected with Izzy though. Izzy's
Okay.
he's
Okay.
champion for a reason. He's undefeated in MMA for a reason.
Yeah.
He's not undefeated in MMA, undefeated in the UFC for a reason.
Right. Right.
Um, so there's a reason for that. Well, he's let me backtrack on that. He's not undefeated, but his one lone loss was going up to 205
That was a
to try
blanket
to
show, right? That
fight
was Blanket, whatever his name was.
Jan.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Jean.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
John Blacka, Shock, Blacka,
yeah.
something
The
like that.
the
Yeah.
Polish, what do they call himself? The
That was it.
Polish Hammer.
No, that was UFC 259. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, the Polish. So
Hmm.
he has one loss, but it's because he went up to fight. I just,
Right.
we're talking about he's fought killers before. He's fought Costa, who has
Yeah.
some incredible power in his hands. He's fought Yoel Romero, who was an Olympic wrestler at one point. He
Mhm.
fought Robert Whitaker, who has a great stand up.
Twice, Joey. Twice.
He's fought Gastelum, who
Silva, Brunson. Yeah.
like
Vittori.
all these guys are
Yeah.
great MMA fighters, and he was able to find a win. I just think he finds a way to
Hmm.
win this one, and I just think Alex uses the glory fights too much, and I just think he's gonna just be sitting on his punches,
Okay.
trying to land that one punch, and is he just gonna get in, get out, and land at will?
I'm glad I let you go first, Joey. That's why I do agree with you, and I disagree a lot with you. But on this one here, 100% agree. Everything you said. I was big on the Alex train, Joey. But I'm going to lead into, just like you said, the last two or three fights. Not the one with Silva, but you look at Strickland, 2 minutes and 36 seconds into it, Joey's perfect punching against Andres, flying knee, 18 seconds, Joey. I think I lived up to watching him like, holy shit, did that just really happen?
He's definitely a killer, Paul.
No, I get that
Definitely
he's a killer,
draws you into that.
right? He's a killer, Joey. But I think I'm basing my eyesight. I didn't really look at the fight. I really didn't look at it. Those are one of the fights, Joey, where you can just turn off the video and listen to it. Like, holy shit, he's down.
Yeah.
Left part. That is what I think I got drawn into. But I agree with what you said. I don't agree with I can't see Izzy trying to take this to the ground. If he does, I don't put it past him. He can do anything in the world. This style bender, he can do anything. But I think he is so smooth, Joey, so smooth in his striking, takedown defense. I think he's just going to have a little fun with this. He's going to take what Alex gives him. Alex is going to come out swinging. I think Stylebenders is going to move a little bit, let you wear out a couple seconds, and just pick your poison, man. Here it comes. Okay, your little gas. Boom. Here comes the right. Here comes the left. Let me get back out for a second. Okay, come at me again. He's going to take it to a level, Joey, where Alex has never seen this. But Joey, here's the one thing I want to. I'll leave it alone saying this is the perfect saying a puncher's fight. If he connects, Joey, one punch could win this whole fight. A puncher's chance. One punch could send Izzy into next year. One
Yeah.
punch, Joey. You know,
Yeah, but the same could be said for Izzy one kick.
true, 100%.
So
But yeah, I mean, what do you before? What are you going to go with Izzy? How are you going to go with Izzy, Joey? How fast or does he go the
I think
distance?
it's a decision.
I think so too. I think it's going to be a decision. I mean, you look at his last fights, Joey. When was his last time that he did not go the distance? If you think about it, you know, he's been going the distance a lot. I mean, his last one was Costa, second round KO. But one, two, three, four, five out of his last six fights have been decisions, Joey. You know, and all
But
victorious. But
I think he's smartened up a lot, and he's realized now that if he wants to have a long MMA career, early on in his career, he kind of went in there and was getting into some battles, stand up
yeah,
battles. And
he
I
was
think
he was probably putting himself in bad positions to that
he
point. Yeah.
realized now that he has the skill set to where he doesn't even need to get touched, honestly. Like he can get
Mm-hmm.
in, land, and get out, and frustrate his opponents so much that they make mistakes.
Agree.
And I think we're going to see a lot more decisions out of him. Again, this is MMA. It's not cockfighting for all these idiots who say Izzy's a boring fighter. This isn't cockfighting. The name of the game is win the fight. Whether that's a
Agree.
boring decision
Agree.
victory or an amazing one punch knockout. A win is a win. That's all that matters.
Exactly. I agree with you 100%. I mean, listen, the MMA is a different animal out there. This is the only sport that I can actually say, Joey, strength of schedule matters no matter what you look at. And it doesn't matter in MMA, man. It's either 15 or 25 minutes is all you have to do. If you can do what you can do for 15 minutes or 25 minutes in championship fight, whatever style you want to do to win the damn fight, I don't care how you do it. I respect you when that ring bells and your hand goes up, no matter
Yeah.
how you look at it, man. That's just totally different. I mean, that's just, that's why I love MMA and I love boxing so much because,
Something just came across my phone. Speaking of Fight Club and stuff like that.
mhm.
Um, Conor McGregor versus Ricky Hatton.
Where'd you see that at?
So there was things of Hatton training, and someone commented and said the Notorious versus Ricky Hatton. Be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, but
And then,
that has to be like 7 months down the line, Joe. He hasn't entered the pool yet, has he?
you don't have to. It's not the UFC.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, you're right.
And
You're right.
McGregor commented back and said, "Wouldn't that be something?"
Mm.
I mean,
Well,
Ricky Hatton was an absolute megastar in the UK. Conor
yeah.
McGregor still is. I mean, talk about selling tickets.
Here we go. Yeah, it could be. Could happen. It could happen.
I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but
Mhm. All
McGregor's
right.
obviously entertaining that. One more thing, I don't know if you've realized this,
He has to get off the roids first, Joey.
but you know that dude KSI,
Hmm?
the
Who?
the YouTube dude KSI, he fought like Logan Paul in a boxing
No,
match and
I
stuff.
don't even remember that. I barely watched the Logan shit. The only Logan that I watch or whatever the hell his name is the dude in WWE, Joey. That dude has talent. I'm not gonna lie. That dude has fucking talent.
Well, supposedly, Floyd Mayweather has a fight coming up
He's fighting.
November
He
13th.
just fought my dude in Japan. What 2 months ago?
He's fighting DG.
Who?
DG, I don't know who the freak that is. I think he's a YouTube guy.
Oh my lord. He might as well fight me in Vegas in February.
Yeah, he's November 13th, so Saturday.
Oh my god. I haven't even heard about this, Joey. Well, there's another $400 million in his pocket. Like he needs that shit, but you gotta be kidding me. I didn't even see it, Joey. I didn't even really see that. That's insane.
Yeah.
That's insane. But all right, Joey. So you're gonna go. You're gonna go decision. I'm gonna go decision as well. I mean, real quick, Joey. Let me ask you, what is your fight of the night? What do you think? What's your fight of the night that you're most looking forward to?
Chandler Poirier.
Really? Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that provides the most fireworks.
I agree with that one too. I mean, I can't wait for that fight. But I really want to see. I really want to see this Barzo Zhang fight. I really do. I mean, for some reason, I love Zhali Wang, of course. Of course, I love her. But Esparza, man, she's top notch as well. This one here is going to be. It's going to come down to the coaches, man. How you're going to game plan for this fight here, Joey. I think it's going to be the fight of the night. But
Yeah. I just worry
no,
because it could either be
a boring fight.
Esparza could make it a very boring fight and
Yeah,
make it a
yeah,
drag out fight,
yeah.
or Zhang could get an early knockout. I just think this fight is as a total wild card.
It is. That's what I mean. I think it's going to go both ways. It's like one of those pick'ems, but you know what the strengths and you know what the weaknesses are. It's who's going to actually come out and identify those and do what you need to do. Here's one real quick, Joey. For you, I'm going to let you answer this one. Do you think the original Rocky of the UFC can put on a show for his last fight?
Yeah, we talked about that early in
Mhm.
the card. I think Edgar in his hometown, in front of his people. New York's not really his hometown, but Tom's River is close enough.
Right, right.
I think he gets his storybook ending. I think he does come out with a win.
Yeah, I don't want to see him lose, Joey. I mean, I love to see champions go out, especially legends of the game, that we've admired throughout our, passion for the
Yeah,
UFC. I
yeah,
definitely want to see that happen because if you don't, it's just like you live in his fandom a little bit, Joey. If he goes out on a loss, you feel more for him. But man, you want that
Yeah.
feeling where like, holy shit, I watched him throughout his years and
Yeah,
years back.
exactly. I mean, I grew up with
Oh,
him.
I went out with him. We went out together. We went out with the win. You feel that in a certain kind of way. This is like, you go to the Rocky movie for the first time. You come out, you're ready to fight somebody, Joey. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
That's the way it is. Ken Price, and he's well rested as well. Yeah, back to that year off. You're damn better be well rested.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
I mean, but a lot of Joey. Real quick before we get out, we'll talk about one more event popping up here. But we talked about like going. I know Max Holloway's not wrestling this week, but I play a lot of Call of Duty, and it's funny. I mentioned this on the show before, Joey. Where what was his last fight, Joey? I'm sorry, Holloway's last fight. Who was it against? I'm drawing a blank.
So am I actually.
I forgot who it was, Joey. I forgot honestly. But when he was fighting a week before his fights, Joey, he was on Facebook gaming, playing Call of Duty at 2 o'clock in the morning. I mentioned that to you before. When you're
Yeah.
out there and you're fighting, and
He
3 days
lost to
later,
Volk his
well,
last
okay,
fight in
okay,
the title fight.
a week before that, prior, where you're still in sparring training, Joey, you're out there, MMA training for this fight coming up, one of the biggest fights out there. He was playing Call of Duty, and he got the shit kicked out of him, Joey. You remember that face he had, after the fight. But
Yeah.
3 or 4 days later, my man was back on Call of Duty. Eyes screwed up, barely can see. I don't see how he could see the game itself. He was on Call of Duty. Like I hope that year off, my man wasn't doing something stupid. He was out there training, which I know he was, of course. But it just goes to say, like fighters do what they want to do on the off time. But
Yeah.
Hendrick says, I mean, Frankie beat Cheeto until he got knocked down to 40s, and Cheeto was one of the best in the division. I think his heart will prevail. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of, look, if you're using that fight as an
Hmm.
example, realistically, Cheeto, if he's not fighting, I think he fights O'Malley next, but we'll see how that goes. Because it looks like.
O'Malley shouldn't be where he's at right now, Joey. I'm just
Well,
going to say it,
I
Joey.
think he should be up there because he
Not
beat
not number one, Joey. Not number one. The way
not
he
number
no,
one, but he should
no.
definitely be top five. But I think him and Vera they fight again to finally once and for all see who's next in line. Because I think Cejudo's coming back, and I think he's gonna fight Sterling. We're gonna Sterling Cejudo,
I
and
agree.
then O'Malley and Cheeto kind of as number one contender fight to see
Hmm.
where it is. And that's how impressive it is. Think like that. That Edgar was winning that fight, and then but that's the thing we're talking about previously is when you get there up there in age, that chin starts to go, especially with the wars that Edgar's been in.
Right, right.
Um, that chin starts to go again.
I agree.
And like
I
you
agree.
said right there, yeah, beating the chin, I'm scared of that. That's what he's saying.
Hmm. Yeah, 100%. But listen, Hendrick's out there, and I know Ken's watching. Hendrick's out there. Give me who do you guys think win the fights tonight? This coming weekend. I mean, we got Izzy versus Pierre.
Yeah, Jeff, I'm gonna give us predictions for the main event.
Just yeah, give us the last two and your fight of the night. Izzy versus Pierre, Esparza versus Zhang, and give me your fight of the night. Who are you most looking forward to seeing before we get out of here? But Joey, before we get out of here, man, let's talk about one more event, Joey. Gervonta Davis. I know this is in January versus Ryan Garcia.
Yeah, it's
Now, has this
again.
been signed? Has this been signed, Joey, or not?
So they said they laid the framework,
Okay.
and again, when it comes to boxing, until it's
Hmm.
finalized and they're actually fighting,
Exactly.
we don't take anything
Yeah.
with a grain of salt because
Yeah. AK Spence Crawford. Yeah.
yeah. So
Mhm.
I mean, this is obviously the fight to make, and then the winner of this would obviously fight Lomachenko.
Okay.
That's the best route I see it going. But again, I'm not getting too hyped up for this fight until it actually is announced.
Yeah. When you
And
sent that
one of
over,
our commenters, Paul, actually put up his
he
prediction.
says Izzy will win, and I think Frankie's fight for the emotional feel of it. Okay. All right. What do you got in the as far as Zhang fight? I definitely want to hear your thoughts about that one as well. But I think Izzy does lay out the groundwork for this one. I think he takes it. It could be one of those matches where a lot of people think he's tuning in. Oh, this fight's boring. He's just taking what he gives you. He's striking. He's setting back. He's striking. But dude, Izzy can go any way he wants to fight this match. I mean, it can go either ways. If he gets landed on, who knows? We don't know. But Izzy can go 5 rounds and go. That's why he's called the style bender, man. He can do anything he wants out there. But
Yeah, for sure.
Joey, before we
But
get out of here, man, go ahead. Wait, I'm sorry.
I'm not getting too hyped for this fight until it's
Me either.
actually
Me either.
announced and signed. But I think Tank's power is too much.
I agree. I
if
think
it's not
Tank
getting
is. I
down.
think yeah. I think Tank is just the upper class here. Honestly, I mean Garcia to me is just. I don't think he's there yet. I mean he's there. I'm not going to say he's not undefeated,
Now,
but
now here's the thing. Prior to this fight, I thought Tank won in a. Prior to Garcia's last fight, I thought Tank won in a landslide.
mm-hmm,
But Garcia's last fight impressed the hell out of me. He looked like a
mm-hmm,
completely different fighter.
agree.
Had a lot more power in his punches than what before.
Mm-hmm,
Um, and I think it's gonna be a closer fight than it is. I still think Tank's too powerful.
I agree.
But getting off topic here, this comment here, like I
I
said
love this. I
before,
love this. Yeah, I love this. Mm-hmm,
exactly. And here's the thing: is Izzy is great at getting in, getting out, and landing his punches.
mm-hmm,
And like you said here, the opponents allow for that style of fight to happen. It
agree.
wasn't until the fifth round of last fight where Jarrett finally said "F this" and started pushing through
Mm-hmm,
and
okay.
and and making and initiating the stand up and not allowing Izzy to initiate it.
Mm-hmm,
That's what Izzy's great at. Izzy is great at kind of lulling you to sleep and allowing you to kind of be on your back heels the whole time, and then
agree.
Izzy will strike and then be out, and it frustrates the opponents and they allow it to happen. Whereas I think
Mm-hmm,
the path to victory against Izzy, and it's hard because you're getting punched in the face while you're doing it, is engaging Izzy, trying to walk Izzy down
mm-hmm,
and force him to be on his back foot. But Izzy's striking is so good that even on his back foot, he can still hit you with a combo you've seen coming out of nowhere. And that's where the challenge relies is,
mm-hmm.
are you willing to eat strikes to
Yeah,
try to get on the inside
exactly.
to to make it an interesting fight with Izzy? And
Agree.
no one has seen the dude done that yet.
Yeah, I mean, it's like what Ken says, Izzy wins in three and Edgar wins. Well, okay. Okay, I like that one. And the last one here, Ken says the wrestler is going to get tired and keep Izzy down. What do you think?
But who's the wrestler?
I believe he's talking about Piera. Piera's not really a wrestler. He's a striker.
Yeah, he's not a wrestler. Oh, he's a
He's a
kickboxer.
striker. Yeah, he's a striker. I mean,
He's
that's.
had seven. He's had 7 total MMA fights,
Mm-hmm.
and he's lost. He lost the first one by submission, and the rest have all kind of been, I think, walkthrough fights because
To me, Joey, I'm going to use a word that I really shouldn't use. Well, a phrase that I really shouldn't use about Piera. I bought into the train, Joey. I think I drank the Kool Aid, just like I admitted to you, on the show here. I was all over him, after the first 2 out of 3 fights of what he could do, the 18-second knee,
all
plus the,
good, Ken.
I mean, yeah, no problem, Ken. But I think I jumped on the train. I drank the Kool Aid as well. But to me, man, listen,
But it was easy to drink the Kool Aid when you
yeah,
see those style of knockouts. But we
of
have to
course.
think that Izzy is a step above almost everyone in terms of
Right, he's like Volkanovski.
striking.
He's like Volkanovski, who's ran to the whole division, Joey. I mean, you think about it. Uh, Kendrick said, Izzy said he doesn't care about the belt and just wants to beat Alex. So I'm excited to see that. That's the one thing. Like, a lot of people say that when
But
you fight somebody,
Izzy said that about his last fight too,
he
um,
did. He did.
that he wanted to put on a show and make an excuse out of Jarrett, and then look what happened. So I
But,
don't really buy in much what Izzy says.
I think it does play into this, Joey, because the fact Alex called him out after his knockout. Do you remember that?
Yeah, but I think Izzy is saying this to pump it in Alex's head that
Mm-hmm.
Izzy's gonna make it a slugfest. Because if you're making it a slugfest, I think it
Okay.
helps Alex more because Alex holds the 2 knockouts over Izzy. If Izzy
Mm,
goes in there with a slugfest, I think it's not good for him. I
no,
don't
I don't
think
either. I don't either.
that's the right path to victory. I think Izzy needs to try to drag this out, make it a boring fight, and cause I'm not taking away from Izzy at all. He's
Mm-hmm.
probably the best striker in UFC,
Mm-hmm.
maybe in all of MMA. But I just think with the power that Alex has, it's silly to go in there and change your style when your style is the perfect style to beat him.
Yeah, you can't. If I'm Izzy, and we know what Izzy's about, Joey. He's just like I said. He's top. He's top out there. But to me, he's got to play smart here. He's got to play smart. Don't let any outside noise get in your head because you know what you're about. You know you can defend. You know you can strike. Your takedown defense is immaculate. You've got to avoid Pierre's power. Don't go chin to chin with this dude because one mistake could cost you the whole damn event right here. The whole damn
Yeah.
the belt, put it that way. It could have cost you real quick. Ken says, I thought he was wrestling my backup fighters mixed up. No problem. Yeah, we all. it's out there. I mean, he's more of a boxer and a kickboxer as well.
Yeah.
Uh, Hendrick said Izzy also said he wanted to fight Alex Strong to take him down so we could see a submission win for possibly. I don't think it's going to be a submission move. I really don't. Joey, what do you think? You said he might take him down to the ground. Do you
I
see
wouldn't
that?
be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked. Alex only has 7 MMA fights.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Izzy is more well versed in the entire sport of MMA.
Right, right.
He's been doing it a little longer. I would not be shocked if Izzy tried to get a takedown. We saw it in the Adesanyo's Gain fight.
Mm-hmm.
Not Adesanyo's, in Ngannou Gain fight.
Mm-hmm.
When Ngannou is a battering ram who knocks people out,
Mm-hmm.
but Gain was the kickboxing champion who had better combinations and was better on the feet.
Right.
And Ngannou took it down multiple times to win that fight because they were not expecting that. So that's why I wouldn't say it. If I lose you, Paul, my charger's upstairs, my computer's about to die. So if I go out, everyone have a good night. I'm
All
gonna
right. Well,
go until my computer dies.
before we do that, let's just get into it real quick, Joey. Let's just talk about all of our shows coming up in here on Out of the Box. On Tuesday nights, of course, you're listening to the Fight Club 215 with myself and Joey. Every other Wednesday, he'll be on tomorrow, the Batcave, talking all the World Series MLB action, and they'll be going bi-weekly after that. Tomorrow night, right after that, College Football Frenzy. Myself, Joe Sullivan, Sean Kilrain, Mike Laurel, giving you all the college football, top 25, top 10, who's in, who's out, who's hot. We give you a couple bets out there. Tomorrow night, 215 was Wednesday, 9:30. Myself, Matt Klein, Dave Yarnell, keeping it all real about the Dallas Cowboys. Hey, Philly fans, we got you covered as well. Thursday night, Big Mike's 4-4 Locker Room Podcast, all about the Phillies, Sixers, Eagles, and Flyers. They're on a hot tear as well. They won the night as well. Friday night, we got you covered. Big Blue Power Hour, all New York Giants. Evan, Dan, Stacy. Saturday morning, you'll see Joey again, 7:30, keeping it real, talking about the event at the pay-per-view. What was that called again, Joey?
What happened?
What was the pay-per-view this weekend? Crown Jewel?
Yes, Crown
Crown
Jewel.
Jewel. He'll be giving you all the Crown Jewel updates, tell you what happened there. And of course, Vegas Sports Scene. You see Ken checking in tonight. Vegas Sports Scene talking about the Raiders out there. What are the Raiders? Who are they? We don't know. We don't even know what the hell they are anymore. But Vegas Sports Scene Saturday at 10 p.m. I actually put the wrong banner up there. That is my mistake. But before we get out of here real quick, let's talk about our sponsors. Oh my God, my throat hurts now. I don't know what the hell. What the hell's wrong with my throat? Oh, to our sponsor, J Fine Law, a.k.a. Big Al, for all your possible injury needs. Give him a call. Tell him Out of the Box sent you at 1-800-HURT-123. That is 1-800-HURT-123. He's located at 1628 JFK Boulevard, Suite 2120 in the heart of Philadelphia. Once again, tell him Out of the Box sent you. 1-800-HURT-123. And to our proud sponsor, Cancel Boxing in Johnstown, PA. Big Dog Built, proud sponsor of USA Boxing for all your boxing needs. And of course, you already know they have Trayshawn Wiggins out there, the 10th ranked boxer in the world welterweight division, fighting out of them. And of course, Joey's actually working on a MMA fighter for UFC 1 hopping in a couple weeks. Keep in tune for that. And a special episode coming up. I know it's really small out there. November 19th, 9 p.m. Natalie Morgan. She's the 8th ranked Muay Thai fighter in the world. She'll be hopping on. Please join us for that event as well. So listen, for myself, Paul Spencer. Well, Joey, you know what? We got 2 more comments. How about we read those real quick, okay?
Sounds good.
Ken Fry, great show, fellas. Great show. Thank you, Ken. We appreciate you checking in. Check him out Saturday nights. And, of course, tomorrow morning, 10 a.m., the Batcave with Ken Fry. I can't wait to see his bat mask, and how long he's going to keep that on. We'll see. But, of course, Hendricks, thanks for checking in.
Is that like your fetish or something? That's how a little...
Hey, I got a thing for Batman, brother. It's not because it's not because the Eagles either. I don't know what the hell is shit like that. I don't know. But Hendricks checking in.
Fat
Hey, I'm fat. I have lost 22 pounds in 2 weeks. I'm doing pretty damn good. I think Alex may be too cocky with his fight, possibly make a little mistake, and when fighting Izzy, make a smaller mistake could lead to exactly. I agree with that. I mean, I think he will get too cocky, just like Joey said, coming off the last 2 fights. I remember how Joey, I was saying that word. I think he's going to be like a Milli Vanilli, a one-hit wonder. Where he had those two huge, fights, kicks, and the punches, and a 16-second knee. I don't know, but we'll see. And also his last comment of the night, exactly what we're going to do. We are going to peace out. Hendricks, thank you for checking in. Appreciate it, brother. So listen, guys, for myself, Paul Spencer, and of course, Joey Woods, we will see you next week on Fight Club 215, Tuesday at 10 p.m., going all over our predictions and what we've seen for this fight. So all you please check us out on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter. For myself, Paul Spencer, and Joey Woods, we'll see you next week. Have a great weekend.